Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I am driving a 2017 Tesla Model S P100D. Up front is a trunk and down below are a ton of batteries. That's right, this is an electric car. And if you want to read more of my thoughts, head on over to carmarshal.com/overdrive where I'll be writing a complete article about the Tesla Model S P100D. But let's get back to that electric drivetrain. Well, contrary to popular belief, this car is not slow. This might be the fastest, quickest, most mind-bending car I've ever driven, and it doesn't have to burn fuel to do that. This, being the P100D, is the top-of-the-line Tesla Model S, and so it has ludicrous mode, which allows you to do this. Alright, we're gonna do ludicrous mode. Pull it to a stop. That was 70. That was 70. That all-wheel drive system just pulls you. Oh. That is unlike anything I've ever driven. I don't even have time to emote myself and create emotions. It genuinely feels like the drop of a roller coaster. It really does. That's the only comparison I can make, is when you're dropping on a roller coaster and you get that feeling in your stomach and then it doesn't go away. It's not like, oh, quick, like, oh, I realized I forgot something. It's not like that. It's sitting there and just boiling, and oh, there is simply nothing like ludicrous mode. There just isn't. Now, actually driving the car like a normal human being, you're given 3 different modes. You have chill, sport, and ludicrous mode. Now, as you saw earlier, ludicrous mode is pretty ludicrous. It's insane. But in chill mode, it feels pretty regular, except for the fact that the Tesla has regenerative braking, which means that when the car's slowing down, it pulls energy from that. So it actually recharges your battery ever so slightly whenever you brake. That's a really nice feature, but that means when you're driving it, if you just let off the gas, it feels like you're braking. So you could almost drive this car with 1 foot, because I barely ever touch the brake in this car. Maybe when I finally get up to a stop, but if you have the creep mode off, then it just sits. What is creep mode? Well, creep mode, you know when you're driving a car and you take your foot off the brake, but you haven't hit the gas yet and it starts rolling forward? That doesn't happen in a Tesla automatically. You can turn that on if you'd like, or you can leave it off. This car has creep mode off. So when you come to a stoplight, you can have your feet flat on the ground, not on any pedal, and the car won't move. In front of me, I have a screen that's displaying the speed, the car itself, the lines on the road, the time, and my power usage, which is a really nice feature. On the steering wheel, I have my audio controls and voice activation controls. To the left of this, I have the cruise control button, and also that triggers the Autopilot, which I don't know if you've noticed, I'm not touching anything right now. I'm just kind of hanging out. Because the car is in Autopilot mode, it's seeing the lines, and it's holding, there we go, every once in a while, every about 2 minutes, you have to grab the wheel to tell the car you're still awake. But it's seeing the road, and it's driving itself right now. But what's most impressive about this Autopilot feature is just how advanced it is. I drove a Volvo that had Autopilot. Oh, it's braking for me, because it sees the car in front of me is going slower. The Volvo that I drove, it had this feature, but it didn't feel as advanced. It didn't feel as secure. It wasn't as smooth. And so the Tesla really nails it with smoothness. Speaking of which, this car is quiet. This car is really quiet, and I love that. In the middle, I have the giant touchscreen. Now, this is the centerpiece of all the Teslas, because this has all of your different settings. Right now, I'm looking at the sunroof settings. There's the suspension settings, comfort settings, display settings, range mode, different lights. You can lock and unlock different doors. Everything you need, everything you want is done through this center screen. Now, as you can see, the interior is white, and at first I was a little hesitant about a white interior, but this car is a year old and it still looks nearly pure white, which is really impressive. I'm not sure what material this is, but the owner told me that this is a vegan car, so this is not actual leather, which is a really cool touch, that they don't actually sacrifice any cows for this car. The interior also has a huge sunroof. I mean, this thing's huge. It's so big. Now, like I mentioned earlier, there is a front trunk, which is an okay size, and then there's a rear trunk, which is huge. It's really big. It's really nice. It's actually kind of a hatchback. And actually, if you got the option, there's 2 pull-up seats. So if you have 2 little kids, they can sit in the back facing backwards, like an old Volvo or something. See, so right now, I'm just obviously going around. Let's put the steering mode. So let's turn autopilot off. Let's turn the steering mode to sport. Okay, it's a little bit tighter. Comfort. A little bit looser. Now, like I said, the suspension settings, what does that mean? Well, this car has air ride suspension. And so basically, if you see a big bump, if you have to get into a steep driveway or whatnot, you can raise and lower the suspension at will, which is a really nice feature, and I've reviewed other cars that do that. But the Tesla has them beat, because not only can you raise or lower the car, you can set it to remember. So every time you go into that parking lot or every time you go into your driveway, it'll automatically remember that you raised your car last time and re-raise it to that same height again. That's super smart, and that blew me away. That's really cool. Similarly, you can set your garage door code, which isn't anything new. Other cars do that all the time. You just hit a button and it opens. But the Tesla remembers the location of your house, so when you pull up, you don't have to hit anything. The garage door just opens. That's it. And all of this is done through not only GPS tracking, but there's 8 cameras around the car, but also this car gets almost regular software updates. So you can set a time, or you can just tell it to do it whenever, and the car about once a month will go through a 20-minute to an hour-long update, and you get new features. They added lines for the backup camera so you can kind of gauge the distance. They've updated the Autopilot many times. One of those updates was the fact that you have to put your hand on the wheel every 2 minutes. The chill mode was actually an update, but they actually added a chill mode for when you don't want to go fast and you just want to conserve energy, which is super cool. What's really interesting is that this is kind of a, I want to say living car, but like it keeps getting updated. It keeps getting refreshed. And that's unlike anything I've ever seen from a car dealership, is that you don't bring your Volkswagen in for updates, you know? Tesla's the only people doing that, and they're doing it well. And I think that's super cool that this is really a piece of technology, just like an iPhone or Android or anything else like that. Now, I have been in one Tesla before, and I'm going to cut to it because it's super embarrassing and old, but back in 2010, I rode in a Tesla Roadster. Back in the day, Tesla used to have a Roadster that was based off the Lotus Elise chassis. It was all electric as well, and I'll cut to video of that. This was my first reaction to riding in a Tesla. Okay. Now, going into this, I thought there's going to be one big flaw, and I'm going to be nervous about it while doing the review. It's going to be at the forefront of my mind. It had me scared, which is range anxiety. I thought range anxiety was going to be a very real thing, but honestly, it's not. I'm not nervous at all. Right now it says I have 235 miles of range, but the owner of the car actually took this car on a rally. He's taken it from Illinois to Portland. He's taken it down to Florida, and he's just found chargers along the way. He said it's not hard to find. And he says really after a while, range anxiety ceases to exist. Because my whole thing was thinking like, well, in a gas-powered car, when you run out of fuel, you just pull over, you get more fuel, and then you head back on your merry way. Well, you can't really do that in an electric car. Except now you kind of can with superchargers. So really, I find very few flaws in the Tesla Model S. This is a very comfortable car. It's very well equipped. Yes, it has its software bugs, but this is cutting edge. This is technology moving forward. And honestly, I'm so glad that Tesla's doing what it does and that Elon Musk is just, honestly, he's just sending it out in the world. Because I remember back in the day, I watched this documentary, which if you're into electric cars, highly, highly recommend checking this out. It's called Who Killed the Electric Car? And it follows the story of a GM car called the EV1 that was mysteriously sold to people. People loved them. Then GM just took them back and crushed them without much real story behind it. So it's actually a really cool documentary. But ever since that documentary, I believe it came out in 2004, 2005, auto manufacturers were scared of making electric cars. Oil companies were pressuring companies to not make electric cars because they'd lose business and all this stuff. And Elon Musk came along and just made them. That's what he did. He just started making electric cars, and now that's almost given other manufacturers the confidence to start breaking out into this. Now we have the Nissan Leaf. Now we have the Chevy Volt and Chevy Bolt. Now we have the BMW i3. I know that's still technically a hybrid, but they're getting close to being full electric. And so this car really set the tone, and that's what's most important. People hate on it. People think Elon Musk is a supervillain, and sometimes I don't disagree with them. But this is a very important car, and it's pushing the auto industry in the right direction. Because yes, gasoline engines might go away one day, but speed, power, acceleration, driving fun, that's not going away. If this Tesla shows me anything, even with this Autopilot, that when you want to have fun behind the wheel, that's going to stick around for quite some time. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys learned something about the Tesla Model S P100D. If you want to read more of my thoughts, head on over to carmarshall.com/overdrive. But again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.
There goes a sight from my soul.